Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to talk about concrete countertops, and we'd like to thank Cindy Rhodes for liking and sharing the podcast. And book 16 is back from the editor. Once we review it, we'll let you know when you can download a copy on Amazon. Some of the earliest countertops were made out of stone or wood. Ceramic tile countertops became popular in the 1920s. In the 1940s and 50s, Formica laminate became popular. And the Concrete Network says concrete countertops started to become popular in the 1980s.
Exciting.
A friend of ours is building a cabin, and he asked us if we knew anything about building a concrete countertop.
And we did not, but we did some research.
So we found out there's two main ways to create a concrete countertop. One is the cast-in-place method, and the other way is the precast method. With cast-in-place, you would build or buy a form, put it over the cabinets, and then pour concrete into the form.
Are you using regular concrete?
So you can use regular concrete, but there are specific concrete countertop mixes, and they have additives to increase the strength and reduce cracking.
Cool.
With the precast method, you would build a form in your garage, for example, and then you would have to lift it and place it on top of your cabinets.
So you'd have to wait for it to dry?
Right, it has to be cured before you move it. The longer you wait, the stronger it gets. So you'd usually wait a few days before you move it.
So this isn't like an overnight project?
Right, yeah, this is a process. And it's going to be heavy. So depending on how big it is, you're probably going to need some help moving it.
All right. Are concrete countertops popular?
According to the Consumer Reports magazine, concrete countertops were rated highest for customization and exclusivity.
Fancy.
This Old House says concrete countertops are high on the list as an alternative for natural stone and quartz countertops.
What do they look like?
You can stain the concrete to a range of colors. You can create faux finishes to make the surface look like wood, granite, or marble. There are forms you can use to create edges that look like rough-cut stone or reclaimed wood. You can trowel the surface so it looks and feels like stone, or you can polish it to a very smooth finish. You can grind down the surface of the concrete to expose the aggregate.
So the stones?
Right. You can add decorative stone, colored glass, seashells, or other items so it shows through on the surface when it's sanded down with a grinder. You can even add items like coins. I saw glow-in-the-dark aggregate, and I saw one countertop where they added LED lights to the form before they added their concrete, so that looked pretty unique.
Cool.
You can use two-part epoxies to cover the surface for more colors, designs, and to add depth to the surface.
Let's cover some pros and cons.
Concrete countertops are very durable, they're
Good.
heat and scratch resistant, and they're considered an upgrade from laminate countertops if you're remodeling your kitchen or a bathroom. The disadvantages are they need to be routinely sealed to prevent stains from acids in vinegar, lemons, limes, or tomatoes. Olive oil, red wine, juice, coffee, and other liquids can stain concrete if it's not sealed properly. Concrete countertops can crack if they're built too thin, or if the concrete wasn't mixed properly, or if reinforcements like wire mesh or concrete fibers weren't added.
Wow.
And some hairline cracks can show up in the countertop over time, but for most styles it adds to the natural look, and it's still going to be very strong.
How heavy are they?
18 to 25 pounds per square foot, depending on the thickness.
So heavy?
So, right. The standard thickness is 1.5 to 2 inches. I was on the Buddy Rhodes website, and they're recommending 1.25 to 1.5 inches thickness for their Craftsman Mix concrete countertop mix. The Quickcrete website recommends a minimum thickness of 1.5 inches for their concrete countertop mix, And Sacrete recommends a 2-inch thickness for their concrete countertop mix.
Cool.
The Quikrete countertop mix comes in gray or a white tint base. The gray can be used as is, or you can darken it with liquid colorant. The white can be colored with colorant for lighter colors. The Buddy Rhodes concrete countertop mix comes in white, and it cures to a bone white, or it can be colored, and they have more than 400 pigment options.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Have you spelled in this episode yet?
So Quikrete is Quikrete. Sacrete is Sakrete. And Buddy Rhodes is Buddy, capital Rhodes.
Thank you. You mentioned sealing the concrete. How long does it last?
I looked up some top-rated sealers. Ovation Concrete Countertop Sealer is a food-safe sealer. The website says it never needs to be resealed unless the surface is subjected to abuse. Tough Duck is a food-safe sealer. The label says expect it to last 3 to 5 years. And Ghost Shield Countertop Sealer is a food-safe sealer. They recommend resealing every 2 years or so.
Okay.
Ovation is Ovation. Tough Duck is Tuff, capital Duck. And Ghost Shield is Ghost, capital Shield. I spoke to Kathleen and Ian from the Oak Abode YouTube channel, and Oak Abode is OAK, capital ABODE. They have a great video called DIY Poured Concrete Countertops White Design, and you can check it out on their YouTube channel. It shows an overview of the steps they use to create a concrete countertop for their bathroom. They recommend V-Seal Countertech Countertop Sealer. It's food safe, and the website says it has a 10-year longevity. And V-Seal is the letter V dash capital SEAL. They recommend not buying a sealer because of a low cost. Concrete countertops that they built for their kitchen cost $300 for all the products, and $150 of that was for the sealer.
Wow.
So they said they put on one coat and they haven't had any stains. They used a low-cost sealer for their bathroom, and it has stains just from setting decorations on the countertop.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to spend all this time making the concrete countertop, you should keep it looking good.
Absolutely. A couple other tips they shared. Don't add too much water to the concrete mix. An overly wet mixture won't cure properly, and it can cause weak points. Rigid foam insulation for sink and faucet knockouts show every saw and sandpaper mark. They recommend buying plastic knockouts. And if you're pouring concrete into a melamine form, you can't over-vibrate the form to release air bubbles. They used an industrial vibrator and still had some air pockets after the concrete cured.
Wow.
They also have a podcast called the Oak Abode Podcast. They talk about homesteading and sustainable farming.
Cool. What do you mean by forms?
So the forms are what you're using to hold the concrete in place as it cures. It's going to create the shape of the countertop and the edges. For our friend who's building a countertop, he's using forms he got from Concrete Countertop Solutions. They have different shapes for the edges, and they have forms to create an opening for a top mount, under mount, or apron front sink. You put cement board on top of your cabinets, you mount the forms to the cement board, and then you pour the cement into the forms.
This is a cast-in-place countertop?
Right. With this method, there's going to be more work to finishing the top.
Why?
So you're going to fill the form, you screed the top using a long tool or a board on the...
Screed?
Right, so you're just pushing a board across the top of the form to level it off and remove all the excess concrete. In about 30 minutes or so, you'd use a magnesium float to get the surface flat, and then a couple hours later, when the water on the surface evaporates, you're going to use a steel trowel to finish and smooth the surface. Then you're going to wait a couple days to remove the forms. With this system, their forms just snap off.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. For a precast countertop, a common way to build the form is using a sheet of melamine particle board as the base of the form, which is going to be the top of the countertop. So the top is going to be very smooth when it's removed from the form. You don't have to trowel the top. You would cut pieces of melamine for the sides, 1.5 to 2 inches, and screw them to the sheet of melamine. You'd want to use a table saw or a circular saw with a guide, because you need them to be all the same height when they're screwed in place. You're going to create a form for the sink with melamine or rigid insulation, and you're going to silicone it to the bottom sheet. Then you're going to silicone all the corners and allow it to dry for 24 hours before you pour in your concrete. Once you pour your concrete and add mesh or fibers to the mix for strength, you would screed the top, which is going to become the bottom. You'd cover it with plastic and let it cure for a few days. After that, you'd remove the form, flip it over, sand the top, then you can stain it and seal it, and then put it on top of your cabinets.
Cool. What is melamine?
Melamine boards are usually 3/4 inch thick particle board, MDF, or plywood that's coated with this plastic-like material they call melamine. It's used for cabinets and other furniture. It's very smooth, so it makes a great form for concrete.
Okay. What are you setting the form on?
From the projects I saw, most people were putting this on sawhorses.
Cool.
I spoke to Concrete Countertop Solutions, and they recommended doing plenty of research, use quality products with proven techniques, look at cast-in-place and precast methods to pick the best method for your project, watch a lot of videos so you're familiar with all the steps, and look at a lot of pictures online. That way you're aware of the range of colors, textures, and styles before you start.
Because this isn't something that you get to redo.
Right, or not redo easily.
Right. Do you have anything else to add?
If you plan on remodeling a kitchen or a bathroom, concrete countertops are another option for a unique look. We'd like to thank Oak Abode and Concrete Countertop Solutions for sharing their tips.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 15 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter @FixitCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week. Deep.